Well, the road to glory for Sam Darnold was not the road many people expected it to be, Diesel, but Sam Darnold now victorious and glorious as a member of the Seattle Seahawks with a 29-13 win over the New England Patriots last night. Good Monday afternoon to you. Welcome into Wire to Wire. He's Diesel back in the Ingles Market Studios. I'm Cole Bryson, live at Burns High School ahead of tonight's Burns-Wade Hampton basketball game that you'll hear right here on the Fan Upstate. But Diesel, we took it in. We've got a lot to react to. Overreaction Monday coming up at 5 p.m. And I know already what the overreaction is going to be. I already know what the overreaction is going to be because of the comments on social media about how last night was indeed the worst Super Bowl ever. Is that how you would also describe what you saw last night, Diesel?
Este programa es en español.
I don't
show in Spanish. How about that? I know our Tolos are going to love that.
Well, I'm lost.
You didn't know I could speak Spanish?
No, I did not know. What did you say?
I Googled it. This program is in Spanish.
Oh, gotcha. Well, that's good to know. I won't be able to listen to it, but that is good to know.
Yeah, no, the game last night was not great from an offensive standpoint, and it really reveals what fans truly want. Fans don't want defense. Fans want to see two offenses slug it out. We'd rather see terrible defense and scores 44-45. That's what we want to see. We want to see touchdowns.
Yeah.
Not sacks, not punts, not field position, especially not in the biggest game.
You know, it's so similar in my opinion. And by the way, Tolos, we want to hear from you at 844-326-3663. It's so similar to March Madness. You know, like the Super Bowl, Diesel, is very similar to March Madness in the sense of there's a lot of like hardcore football fans who enjoyed last night's game. I enjoyed it because it was football. But to your point, you are right in the sense of, hey, the Super Bowl attracts a lot of fans and people and eyeballs, Diesel, where they're not like football gurus. They're not football, experts. They don't sit there and love every single down of football. So very similar to March Madness in the way of people that people want explosiveness and upsets and drama. It is very similar in the sense of, hey, last night was disappointing for those that wanted scoring because it wasn't the most high-scoring game. And, hey, you know what, Diesel? Vegas told us it wasn't going to be. You and I told the Tolos it wasn't going to be. I think last night was about as easy of a prediction I think we've ever had in the history of sports. Now, hats off to the Seahawks. They were obviously the better team, but didn't we kind of feel like last night was exactly the way it would play out?
Yeah, I didn't expect Seattle to just pull away there at the end, but, that's what happens when you have turnovers late in the game and things kind of get out of hand, especially when the Patriots got down on the Seattle Seahawks side of the field and just couldn't get the ball into the end zone multiple times. You hear some of the post-game interview with Drake May where Drake is talking about how he was having essentially numbing shots shot into his shoulder right before the game started. All of that leading up to the game, about him being injured, about him being limited in practice, all of that was real. Mm-hmm. So, congratulations, I guess, to Mike Vrabel and the Patriots staff for playing it off like, I'm fine, I'm going to be ready to go. Didn't change anything, right? Because the Seattle defense is just too disciplined. But still, they fooled basically all of us.
Diesel, I do want to get into my 4 takeaways from last night's game, but before I get to that, can we just appreciate Sam Darnold's journey to the top? Look, Sam Darnold, even this morning, is getting all kind of hate from those on, the big shows out there about how there's all these other quarterbacks that are better than Sam Darnold, yada, 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 yada. And look, you can rank your quarterbacks how you rank your quarterbacks, but Sam Darnold's, Diesel, his journey to the top of the mountain, I think is something that is so unique. While last night was not the most exciting game from an offensive perspective, I want to show you this graphic. For those watching, the 20 Tolos already watching the show on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, I want to show you this graphic when it comes to Sam Darnold's journey to the top because it's truly remarkable. And what he's done, Diesel, since he got into the NFL, this guy, we've talked about it many times on this show, was drafted 3rd overall to the New York Jets. And at any point while he was a New York Jet, did we ever think that Sam Darnold would be a Super Bowl champion? He was 13-25, right?
I remember when Panthers fans, down bad as the Panthers organization was when they brought him in, when they brought people like, oh, Sam Darnold, why? I mean, he was the top 3. He was 3rd overall pick.
Sure.
And he clearly was a good player. So it just goes to show, as athletes, don't let somebody hold you down when you believe in your own skill level. And also just for people in general, what a heck of a comeback story that is for anybody who's going through anything in life. Just look at Sam Darnold. That guy stunk for like a decade.
And
all of a sudden now he's a Super Bowl champion. And by the way, who was it that was saying these things? Like Sam Darnold's not an elite quarterback. Sounds like something Ryan Clark would say.
Yeah.
Sounds like something Cam Newton would say the day after a Super Bowl. Just not. I'm gonna give him his flowers. But he stinks.
Yeah. Well, you were exactly right on the two names. When he was traded to Carolina in 2021, he backed up Baker Mayfield in 2022. He went 8-9 as a starter, right? And then at that point, Diesel, I think the NFL world kind of forgot about Sam Darnold because in 2023, he signed a 1-year deal to back up Brock Purdy. That was right after Jimmy Garoppolo. And I think at that point, like, if we're being honest with ourselves, I think everybody forgot about Sam Darnold and said, hey, this guy's done. He's not going to be any good. And then you have to give Minnesota a lot of credit, Diesel. In 2024, they signed him to a 1-year deal. What'd they do? They went 14-3, right? I know the graphic has a misprint on the one you're looking at on the stream, but they went 14-3. They lost in the wild card round. And then Seattle saw, oh, man, look at Sam Darnold, what he did in Minnesota. We feel like we've got a good enough defense to bring him here and impact the game. And what happened? They went out and kind of revamped the defense a little bit more, and they got DeMarcus Lawrence out of Dallas, one of the best edge rushers in the NFL. And then you put it together with Mike McDaniel, a new young coach, the 3rd youngest coach to ever win the Super Bowl. I mean, this Sam Darnold journey has just been so remarkable. And to your point, I think it's a great example of like, hey, how you start isn't how you finish, right? And this guy's not finished.
And it's definitely a commentary on what star power can and cannot do for you as a franchise. Point is, you don't have to have a Lamar Jackson at quarterback to go win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
If you've got a quarterback, what was he? 50% last night, 19 of 38 for 200 yards.
Yeah.
Any other week of the season, you look at that and say, wow, what a pedestrian effort.
One touchdown.
But it doesn't matter when you've got an elite level defense that barely lets the other team get past the 50. Now, again, part of that is because Drake May was injured. That is certainly part of it, but it's certainly not the whole story. The Seattle Seahawks defense deserves all the credit in the world.
They do. And I've got 4 takeaways. I want to hear your reaction to these takeaways as well as the reaction of the Tolos. Phone lines are open. The Joy Law Firm text line is open as well, 844-326-3663. Diesel, number 1. The game, in my mind, seemed underwhelming last night because of how overwhelming Seattle's defense was. If something's underwhelming, there has to be a reason for it. And Seattle's defense was just so overwhelming. Drake May had a better night statistically with passing yards than Sam Darnold. But Drake May, we'll get to him later. He wasn't good last night. But what Seattle's defense did as a whole, everything we talked about, right, leading into last night's game, everything we talked about, they were really, really good in last night. Their edge rushers were fantastic. Their linebackers were awesome. Their secondary was really good. If you go back and watch last night, Diesel, they showed so many plays from like the quarterback's viewpoint, the quarterback's vantage point, and the throwing lanes that Drake May had in the secondary were unbelievably tight. Like just spectacular defense across the board. So while I know the story today across the country and across the world is, oh, well, look how underwhelming the Super Bowl was. I get that fans are upset about that. The reason that it was so underwhelming, Diesel, was just because of how overwhelming Seattle's defense was. And that leads me to takeaway number 2, that Drake May was absolutely horrible last night. Do you blame the injury? I don't know. But Diesel, Drake May was not anywhere close to being comparable enough to go lead a team to a Super Bowl and carry his team to a Super Bowl victory last night. He was bad.
Yeah, and he was off. He wasn't off by a ton, but in the biggest game of your career to this point, you have to be perfect to go out and win this game. I mean, that's just the way that it goes. How many times do we see him throw the ball just barely out in front? I mean, on like first down throws, just barely out in front or just barely behind. Now, you got late, you were down, and he threw that inexplicable pick like right over the middle. Like he threw it to where his receiver was when he threw it, not to where he was going to be, which was about, 10 yards towards the pylon. But, I mean, and that one is inexplicable. Maybe by then he kind of felt like, all right, this thing is over. I'm surprised that we didn't see any kind of package whatsoever with a different quarterback for the Patriots. If maybe he was numbed up and he didn't feel it. He never said, hey, coach, take me out of the game because I just can't make throws. But I'm surprised that Mike Vrabel didn't even, for like a wildcat attempt, anything, they didn't attempt another quarterback.
So that all leads me to point 3 and 4. Takeaway 3 and 4. Number 1 was the game was underwhelming, Diesel, because of how good Seattle's defense was. Takeaway 2, Drake May was horrible. Takeaway 2 leads me to takeaway 3. Drake May was horrible, in large part due to how horrible New England's offensive line was. I mean, they were atrocious last night. And for as good as Will Campbell was all season long, my gosh, they gave up way too many sacks. They gave up way too many quarterback hurries, too many quarterback pressures. And you know how we talk about this with Bryce Young and any other quarterback and any other level of football, Diesel. Your offensive line is going to be a big indicator just in terms of what your success level is as a quarterback. And was Drake May bad? He was. How much how much blame does he deserve for his bad performance? That's debate. That's up for debate. But what's not up for debate is Will Campbell and the rest of that offensive line. Diesel, they had 2 weeks to prepare for Seattle, but that just goes to show back to my number 1 takeaway, point 1, how overwhelming that defense was. Nothing they did last night from an offensive line standpoint helped and protected the quarterback in any way, shape, or form. And it was like every other play. You watch the edge rushers, DeMarcus Lawrence and those dogs Seattle has. Offensive line, Will Campbell, they were getting beat every single play, Diesel.
Yeah, this is going to be a big-time learning experience for that offensive line coach and for those players on that offensive line for New England. You're right. They were awful. And again, when you have a quarterback that's injured, when you are already not as good a team on paper, and then, by the way, you got some dudes that are in your backfield every single snap, it makes life miserable for the length of that game.
Well, and I think a lot of people out there listening might ask the question, or you should if you're a football fan, well, why were they so bad? Why was the offensive line so bad? Number 1, the Seahawks pass rush. Did I just say D-Hawks?
Might as well be the D-Hawks.
I mean, I like that. I don't know if I like that or love it or hate it, but the D-Hawks. The Seahawks pass rush, their front line was just, number 1, incredible. Even with a 4-man rush last night, they were just getting after it. The consistency, the power off the edge. Drake May had no time to throw. Number 2 reason why the offensive line was bad, they do have young, inexperienced players at key spots, especially if you look at the left side of that offensive line for New England. You're talking about rookie left tackle Will Campbell, who we just talked about. He was overwhelmed by Seattle's front. He allowed last night an extremely high number of pressures, 14, the most ever recorded. Rookies generally struggle, Diesel, like in a big-time atmosphere, and it showed last night. Again, he kind of got worse as the season went on, and those offensive line issues, another reason they were bad last night, their offensive line has been a liability late in the season in the playoffs. Didn't you and I talk about last week how many sacks they've given up? We talked about it. Yeah. I mean, it's been no secret. So it did not get better. And then the fourth reason why they were so bad on the offensive line, they didn't have any help from the run game. The Patriots, Diesel, never established the run game last night. And we talk about running the football. You've got to be able to run the football in the Super Bowl, the biggest game there is. And what they do last night, Drake May was their leading rusher. Stevenson had 23 yards and Trayvon Henderson had 19. So why the offensive line was so bad? All those reasons go into it. And I remember you and I even said last week on the air, you've got to run the football in the Super Bowl, and the Patriots could not run it last night.
Well, and the vast majority of Drake May's run yards came off that one play, right? It was a 16-yard run. Outside of that, he averaged 5 yards a carry, which is good, I guess, if you're an NFL quarterback and be able to pick up 5 a carry. But when you're Drake May, that's known to be able to do it with your legs. And, yeah, I mean, he was running for his life all night long. Maybe we got served a little bit of fool's gold, Cole, after that big win they had over Houston. Because, remember, Houston's strength all season long was their defense, and this Patriots offense ran roughshod over them. We thought, okay, maybe they would have been able to handle this Seattle defense. But they were lacking in a major, major way. Now, that's not to say that this isn't a phenomenal learning experience for Mike Vrabel and his coaching staff. They can certainly improve and get this thing back to where it needs to be. And obviously, as Will Campbell gets a little bit older, he'll be able to take this feeling and this experience and get better as his career goes along. But he got worked last night, that is for sure.
Well, that leads me to takeaway number 4, my final takeaway from last night's game. Josh McDaniels did not help his quarterback. He just didn't. The offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots, you've got to be able to, throughout the course of the game, Diesel, adjust and help your quarterback out. Number 1, and Chris Collinsworth talked about this on the broadcast last night, and he was actually 100% right. If you look at what New England had success with when it comes to Drake May's running lanes, Diesel, they were on plays where New England spread things out really, really wide. When New England was spread wide last night and all season long, Drake May has had running lanes, right? 4-man front. Okay, he's got 1, 2, 3 seconds. He has a running lane because of how spread out they are offensively. They didn't do a lot of that last night. They were also vanilla and predictable. Early downs, Seattle didn't respect them. And guess what? They did. They were very vanilla on offensive or early downs, rather. And then I go back to that offensive line. Another reason Josh McDaniel didn't help his quarterback out, at some point, Diesel, when it goes back to that offensive line, you've got to mask it. You've got to mask it because they were so overwhelmed by Seattle's pass rush. They did not use quick passes enough. They did not deploy some chip blitz pickup help, right? They did not roll the quarterback out more. They were very vanilla in the lack of adjustment. When the original plan wasn't working, Diesel, guess what? We were watching that game. Every person across the globe watched and said, oh, well, this game's over. You never felt like, even though they made a push late, you never felt like last night they had a chance. They didn't roll them out. They didn't use a lot of play action until later in the game. And there was no really obvious explanation of the tendencies why they didn't change and adjust more. So I get execution and scheme, right? Because you have the play design that you're used to. And, you know, some people will say out there, Diesel, that if the offensive line isn't protecting the quarterback, no play call out there is going to work. But he just didn't do enough. Josh McDaniels, the OC, didn't do enough last night to help and mask some of those deficiencies that they had that were glaring to us watching.
Yeah, it begs the question, you know, if Ramondre Stevenson couldn't run it up the middle, couldn't run it off tackle, why are you not throwing it out to him in the flat a lot? You know, if you got really aggressive defensive edge rushers coming at you, in theory, that means the flat's wide open. Why is the quick throw out to the flat not utilized so much more in that game? And I mean, Ramondre Stevenson had 40 yards through the air. He should have had more like 80 to 100.
Yeah. And you know what? They were just getting after him with 4 men, and that was it. Like, yeah, they did. Seattle did blitz. Seattle did blitz, make no bones about it. They brought safeties. They brought corners at times. But, like, you just go back and watch the 4-man front. They were just getting home with 4. And that was what's so impressive. P. Digits on the YouTube stream says, go Pats. Seattle was better. Pats are a young team. Ton of cap room. It'll be interesting to see where they go from here. Go after a left tackle in free agency or trade and move on from Will Campbell. Look, Will Campbell was good early in the year. It did feel like Will Campbell got a little bit worse as the year went on. And here's one more thing I want to say before we run, Diesel. One thing that I think we're guilty of, and I brought this up after the national championship game. You remember when I was talking about it with Kirk Herbstreit, right? We're guilty of doing this, even with the NFL. All the Patriots are going to be good again next year. All the Seahawks are going to be good again. It doesn't matter if the Patriots lose. They're going to be good. They'll be back. I hate hearing this right here. Oh, Drake May's going to get better. Oh, the New England Patriots, they're going to get better. We don't know that. Like, they may, but they may not get better. And that's what people have to realize in the NFL, man. Like, if you're out working those other guys, those other 11 consistently, yeah, you might have a chance to get better, but we've got to just quit pretending like, oh, the loser of the national championship and the loser of the Super Bowl, they're automatically going to be right back next year, Diesel, because they got a good quarterback and a good coach. The NFL, man, it stands for not for long for a reason, right?
It's easier to predict in the NFL, right? Because everybody's on contract. We don't have rampant movement the way that we do in college football. In college football, it's nearly impossible to have any idea what your team is going to be next year. You can predict based on a sum of the parts, but there's no evidence or there's no guarantee that those parts are going to come together and form a pretty good football team. You just can't know that. In the NFL, you have more consistency. So I'll give this imaginary person a little bit of grace with that statement in the NFL.
Real quick, on the Joy Law Firm text line, Jeff R. gets in. He says, I'm just surprised the Patriots didn't have a backup lineman that they could put in for the guy at least 1 or 2 series to see what happens. Couldn't be any worse. And, Jeff, I mean, I don't disagree with you. Like, it was bad. Another texter, I just saw this texter. I'm sorry. I don't know if you're listening, but this was 17 hours ago. He said, I know you won't see this till tomorrow, but give it to Cole. He said the Super Bowl was the Seahawks and the Rams. And I don't know if I remember saying that. I think we did talk about it, but Diesel, I think what he was referring to is how the Rams-Seahawks game was so good. We kind of felt like those were the 2 best teams, right, 2 weeks ago. And what we saw last night, we didn't feel like New England was even a top 3 team. So,
well, I consider it a safety issue. The Patriots, they had no chance to win this thing from the start, so they should just drop down to another division.
They should.
Their own national championship over there, because clearly they are not in the right class to take on the Seattle Seahawks.
That's true. Need to ban themselves from the postseason.
Yeah. How dare they? How dare they not recognize their own inferiority? When we come back, Cole, let's do a little game called Buy or Sell. Some of the best commercials from last night's Super Bowl. I've got a few. You can present a few if you want to. And we'll play a game, Buy or Sell. Would you buy the product based on the commercial that you saw? Or, nah, man, you can sell that and get it right out of my face. We'll get into that conversation, have some fun with it on the other side of the break. 97.7 FM in Greenville. 97.1 in Spartanburg, 101.5 in Anderson, and everywhere on the free Odyssey app.
3663. That's 844-FAN. Phone. This is Wire to Wire with Cole, Bryson, and Diesel on the Fan Upstate.
Cole, what category of Super Bowl commercials do you like the best? Do you like the straight, just comedic, funny ones? Do you like the ones that turn you in a direction that you didn't expect it to go, sort of subverting your expectations? Do you like the sappy, sad Super Bowl commercials? Because we get all of those every single year.
It's a good question. I think it's a hard question to answer because I like all of the above. I always like funny. Funny is always going to do it for me. But I think if I had to pick one, I think the ones that always get me the most, and maybe a reason I always kind of like the Budweiser ones, or because of like the emotional, the pull at your heartstrings kind of, maybe if it's not exactly what you expect, kind of to your point a minute ago, Diesel, I like the ones that maybe get you a little teary-eyed. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean, and I felt good watching the Budweiser commercial, the one that, the horse finds the little fledgling baby bird out in the rain, and it's covered in mud, and it's so cute that he saved him, and then you're like 3 seconds in, you're like, it's AI. It's AI.
I think they were all AI, weren't they? Every commercial last night felt like.
A lot of them were, but to me, that takes me out of a commercial like that, right? I'm not going to go buy Budweiser when I know that they got all the money in the world.
Yeah.
They can't get a real eagle to ride the back of a real horse. Come on.
No, I do. Like, I feel like every commercial break, somebody that I was with last night said, "Oh, it's AI. Oh, it's AI." So I'm with you. I guess it's just like we're gonna have to be conditioned. We're gonna have to get used to it. But Budweiser, man, like that was a good one. That was a good one. The eagle, and then they come back to the stadium live and they show the horse and the eagle. Like that was pretty good. That was up there for me.
See, Danby on the stream says most of the commercials sucked. How could you say that? And I thought this year was a slight improvement.
I thought they were fine
over what we've seen in years past. Slight improvement, not amazing.
Yeah.
But still pretty good. I mean, what do you want? Like there's no way to really quantify how good all of the commercials being great are. And also thinking that way is really wishful thinking for the past, because you're thinking back on like a few commercials over the course of a decade or more, and you conflate all of that to one Super Bowl. No Super Bowl will ever live up to that level, Cole. But there were a couple in there that I thought were really, really good. And let's go a little buy or sell on these products, okay? There was one of my favorites was the Super Bowl commercial of what would have happened if they had just had Xfinity Internet at Jurassic Park. They unplug it, they plug it back in, Internet works, all of the systems turn back on.
Yeah.
They got basically the entire original cast, except for Samuel L. Jackson, which is weird because they showed an old shot of Samuel L. Jackson, but they got I can never enjoy dinosaurs. I thought that was good.
I'm watching that one back right now. I think it's up there in top 3 for sure. It's everybody's watched Jurassic Park, so I think it resonates with. I mean, even I and Diesel. I don't watch movies at all. I've seen like 6 total. Even I've seen, I think all the Jurassic Parks, even the newest one. Yeah, I like that one. I don't know if it's number 1 because it didn't pull at the heartstrings, right? I think when you get that emotional touch, man, that's what kind of gets you in. That's what wins number 1 for me. Yeah, but I like the Jurassic Park, though. I like the Jurassic Park. I don't know. I like comedy. I like the emotional side, but there's something about I can't put a finger on it. It just brings people, it brings people together. It's like, oh, the animal helped the other animal. It's weird, but it is fake. It is. Or getting shot.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the action movie. I mean, I don't want to watch it if romance.
And I caught probably the weirdest of the bunch.
Okay.
Manscaped commercial. where it was on the floor in the drain. It was singing about all the places on your body that you shave hair off of, and the piles of hair are sad and they're going to miss you. And then clearly they were making allusions to what body part you're really going to be using this Manscaped shaver on. I mean, I thought that was one of the most oddball commercials, and I loved it because it was so weird.
You know what's funny? I did not see that one. I didn't see that one. Now, I don't know. Something on the stream just happens. We lost Diesel, so I'll work on that. I promise I'll work on it, Tolos. If you can hear me, I'll get Diesel's audio back. Maybe something here on my setup, I'm sure. But I will get his audio back, so bear with me there. I did not see that one. Here's something tragic. Diesel, I love the national anthem, and the Green Day, was that before the national anthem?
I think so.
Oh, so somehow,
I think it was.
Maybe I was stuffing my face. Somehow, some way, I missed that. I missed the national anthem. I turned around and looked, and the game was being kicked off. So I was very distracted, I guess, with Wingstop chicken wings. But I did
make your own chicken wings.
No,
I made my own chicken.
Wingstop, you can't make ones better than Wingstop. I mean, what do we?
No,
they're so good. They're so good. Lemon pepper, baby. Lemon pepper.
By the way, Wingstop, call us. We'll get you on the air.
100%. Yep, 100%. But no, I didn't see it. I hated it. Missed the national anthem. I heard it was great. Did you hear it?
Green Day's performance, yeah, it was awesome.
No, the national anthem.
Oh, it was great.
I don't know how I missed.
Charlie Puth, I think is his name, and they had a full orchestra beside him on the field. It was great.
Man, that's tragic. But no, I did not see that commercial by Manscaped. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, sorry. It's too bad for you. Let's see here, Cole. Are you more likely to go to Dunkin' Donuts?
Yes.
After seeing the Ben Affleck
Yes.
Dunkin' Donuts, actually they filmed a much better sitcom before the movie Good Will Hunting, where Ben Affleck's character is the brilliant one. I thought that was fantastic.
I thought that was probably number 1A, 1B with the Budweiser. Like the Budweiser one was good because it was a nice little emotional touch there, but that one was, I think, more unexpected. I think that one, Diesel, has a strong argument to be number one. The people that I were with last night, that was by far their favorite. So Tom Brady at the end with Jennifer Aniston, like talking about AI. I mean, how'd that commercial get pulled off?
Yeah, well, they do it. They do the digital de-aging, right? So they purposefully use like old cameras to make it look like it was filmed in the 1990s, and they use that digital de-aging technology. But it was great. I mean, it had Ben Affleck, Jason Alexander, Jennifer Aniston, Matt LeBlanc from Friends, Tom Brady was in it. Making fun of the iced coffee, which is a mainstay at Dunkin' Donuts. I think they were one of the first ones to popularize it.
Yeah,
phenomenal job. And these Dunkin' Donuts commercials, it's become one of those ones. And you would never have looked for a donut shop commercial every single year in the way that you would look for Budweiser commercials back in the day, like the Budweiser frogs. You used to look forward to those every year. You used to look forward to the Geico caveman commercials every single year. Now we're looking forward to the Dunkin' Donuts Ben Affleck commercial.
I think it's probably number one. I would go to Dunkin' Donuts now, yes, just because of that. And I would how many right now? I hadn't eaten much today. How many donut holes from Dunkin' Donuts would I eat just because Jennifer Aniston was in the commercial last night? Now I'm a new Dunkin' Donuts fan. There's a new one right near where I live, Diesel. So, I mean, I thought it was great, number one. Some funny text to get to on the Joy Law Firm text line real quick at 844-326-3663. J. Tez, Diesel, I like this one. He says, well, Diesel, thank God the Jurassic Park commercial was real.
Well, they used the real actors in it, right? They used footage from the show or from the movie. That's 30 years old. That's grandfathered in.
It gets a pass, right?
And by the way, everybody in that movie now looks like a grandfather.
Texter says from the 807, was this the first year in the past decade without a superhero trailer on the Super Bowl? I don't know.
Was there a superhero movie? They did advertise Project Hail Mary.
Did they?
That movie's going to be awesome.
I
read the book. It's really good.
I don't remember seeing that one.
It was the space movie with Ryan Gosling.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
second half, I think.
Yeah. Texter says, I like the Ring doorbell helping find missing pets for free. I do remember that one, not particularly fantastic. Let's see. Texter from the 912 gets in about the Budweiser commercial. He says the Budweiser commercial wasn't AI. The Eagle was real, and his name is Lincoln. Budweiser did a release on it before the game, and the Clydesdale and the Eagle. So now we've got conflict. Diesel, are you going to let the texter come at you like that?
We're Googling. Was the Budweiser commercial AI?
He said both the Clydesdale and Eagle were present at the Super Bowl. I saw them at the Super Bowl, but I didn't know that meant they weren't AI. I don't know. I liked it regardless.
It was okay. It was okay. It was
he was taking care of the little birdie, though.
The little, like the eagle, like this size, that was fake. That wasn't real.
How do you know?
Look at it. It's very obvious that it wasn't real.
You don't think there's real baby eagles out there they can shoot commercials with? And
not
Clydesdale horses?
Walking up to in a field, nudging it, saying, like, hey, buddy.
Oh, come on. Everything you see on TV is real, Diesel. What are we doing here? You know that. Everything's real.
See, I'm okay with AI if it's not trying to tug on my heartstrings, right? If it's sad, if it's trying to make me feel some sort of an emotion, nostalgia, and it's fake, get out of here. If it's comedy, I'm fine with it. I understand that those two ideas conflict with one another. Did you see the mostly AI commercial? As that was all about AI, actually. It was the Alexa AI commercial. Chris Hemsworth was afraid of all the different ways that his Alexa was going to try to kill him.
Yes, that was good, too.
Great stuff.
Were you surprised there wasn't like any kind of, I don't know, like I always feel like when there's a Super Bowl, we expect some kind of like radical Elon Musk commercial or some kind of, where one of these billionaires just dropped, whatever a Super Bowl ad cost. Going back to what you said, I think they were good. I was surprised that there weren't more, I don't want to say pushy commercials, but it was kind of middle of the road just in terms of what we expected. I mean,
which is kind of nice, right?
It's very nice. Very nice. Very, very nice.
Yeah, I didn't feel like, now it's possible that there was one that I missed, but it didn't feel like there were many pushing an agenda, which was great.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like that too. Nice break. Hey, Speaking of pushing an agenda, though, I'll push this agenda. The state of South Carolina was well represented, if I can get my words together there. The state of SC was well represented last night in the Super Bowl. We'll tell you who it was, where they're from, how they did. We'll get into it next on the Fan Update.
The ball's in your court. Sound off now at 844-FAN-PHONE.
This is Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
Well, last week, Diesel, we talked about the players that played for South Carolina, the Gamecocks, and that were in last night's Super Bowl, like Ernest Jones, like Nick Emenwari. We also talked about the Clemson Tigers that played in last night's Super Bowl. And, well,
yeah, there was that
yeah.
guy. There might have been a Clemson alum in attendance at the Super Bowl.
Maybe, but there. Let's see. No Clemson Tigers. Sorry, we backtracked. Sorry, not taking shots, but I'm just saying. But, more importantly, how about the players? Let's highlight the players in the Super Bowl last night that played their high school football right here in the state of South Carolina. That's what I'm talking about, right? The ones like Nick Emenwari, Diesel, who played at South Carolina for Shane Beamer out of Irmo High School. How about that? Irmo in Columbia. Also, Robbie Outs played for the Seahawks last night. Guess what? Rock Hill up in up toward Highway 5, Rock Hill Bearcat. And then last but certainly not least, DeMarcus Lawrence toward Aiken, Silver Bluff High School. 3 players that played in the Super Bowl last night that all played high school football right here in the state of South Carolina. And I even have not a bone to pick, but I guess you tell me what I do with these emotions, Diesel. When it comes to DeMarcus Lawrence, he played right here in South Carolina, Silver Bluff High School, so I have a lot of fandom for him. He played 10 seasons, I believe, 10 or 11 seasons for my Dallas Cowboys. Really, really good edge rusher. He leaves Dallas, and in year 1 in Seattle, he wins the Super Bowl. So I don't know. Like, what do I do with all those emotions? Where do I go? I mean, I love him. I love him because he played in South Carolina. He was a Cowboy, right? And then he leaves, and in year 1, is that all it takes? Just get out of Dallas and you can play and win a Super Bowl?
I mean, it works if you're a former Carolina Panther, right?
God, I guess so.
Takes a little bit longer as a former Panther, but not that much longer.
Yeah, and also Marcellus Dial, who played at Woodruff High School right here in the upstate. He was on the injured reserve, so he didn't play last night, but we'll also want to give a shout-out to him as well. So Irmo, Woodruff, Silver Bluff being represented really well. Rock Hill representing up there, and Nick Emenwari, man, we talked about him a lot last year and how good he was for Shane Beamer and his crew. He had a great season, and I think that guy is going to be a real talent. I think Seattle deserves a lot of credit for their scouting and finding good players, finding good talent, because like everybody in the NFL wants to aspire to have a good defense, Diesel, but like what they did defensively, I think that's one of the downsides of us talking about last night's game as a letdown, right? Because it wasn't overwhelming. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't sexy. There wasn't a ton of points scored. That's the one thing that I don't like about last night's game. Because it wasn't sexy, we just all forget, and we're going to forget, how dominant that Seattle defense was, not only last night, but all season.
Well, and the Patriots defense did a great job keeping Seattle out of the end zone for the first 3 quarters of that ball game.
Field goals.
Yeah. I mean, hey, all it took were the 5 field goals to win the game, because that was more points than the Patriots scored otherwise.
Did you feel like, Diesel, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, did you feel like at any point last night watching, did you think, oh boy, New England might not score at all?
Yeah, I thought that was a good chance.
I did too.
I thought there was a good chance. I mean, I was obviously hoping that their scoring would have started a little bit earlier in the second half, and something crazy would have happened. I thought, I tweeted this out early, and you were watching the same game, so you may have thought the same thing. Sam Darnold was putting the ball into some real dangerous spots.
Yeah, especially early. Yep.
And I thought there is a good chance that Sam Darnold gets picked off and it goes the other way. I really thought that was a possibility. And going into the game with Drake being injured to whatever degree we believed he was healthy or not, you kind of knew going into this game that they were going to need a defensive touchdown to probably win this football game.
Yeah.
And because they just weren't as good on paper.
I felt the same way. I think it was even that first or second drive. Darnold puts one kind of to the left, and it was a crossing route. And there were two defenders there, and I was like, oh, this guy, it didn't look sharp, right? And that goes back to the point, that goes to show why people this morning on all the big networks were having the conversation about Sam Darnold not being the best quarterback in the NFL, whatever, not getting his flowers. And the reason that they're having those conversations is because of what we just talked about, especially early last night. Now, he made some good throws, don't get me wrong, but there were some times you felt like this guy's just throwing it anywhere. So I'm with you. I'm surprised he didn't throw. They didn't have one turnover at all last night, Diesel. Not only did he not throw a pick, they didn't turn the ball over.
No, they didn't. How many turnovers did Drake make commit?
Two.
Okay, yes, two.
Well,
one was a strip, and then one was a
no. I'm sorry, I take that back. It was two interceptions, and you're right. The third was, you have that one where he got hit, right? Loses the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So there was 3 total turnovers, and my God, did you hear Chris Collinsworth that last pick? Like Chris was right. What is it? It was bad. Like it was really, really bad. So I don't blame Collinsworth there.
Like if your shoulder is that hurt, don't try to launch the ball 40 yards in the air.
Yeah, to a green player, right?
Yeah, especially when there were 3 players. There was another one that was almost a pick. He threw it to, I don't remember who was throwing it to, but it was in the middle of triple coverage.
Yeah.
And that one could have and should have gotten picked off as well.
Yep.
Now, obviously, this is great for Shane Beamer because he gets to use this as a recruiting tool. Say, hey, look at me.
No doubt.
I got a guy that's in the Super Bowl, and he's winning rings already 1 year out of my program.
Yeah, it's true. That's a good point.
Cole, when we come back, should this announcer, now this is probably near and dear to your heart, you don't want to see any broadcasters losing their jobs, but should this broadcaster be fired for what he said on a hot mic? We'll get into it next.
watch the tracks.
Electrifying sports talk from start to finish.
You're going wire to wire
With Diesel and Cole Bryson.
on the Fan Upstate.
We've all watched enough live sports and listened to enough live sports radio calls to know that a great call can make a mediocre product sound awesome, and a terrible call can make a great sporting event seem terrible. And that's exactly what happened, Cole. You sent me this. This is phenomenal audio, and it begs the question. If you are hired by NBC to do play-by-play of the Olympics, which should be
Kind of
like
big deal, right?
achievement, a crowning achievement of your career, to get to travel overseas and cover America as they compete for gold medals, and you do this on a hot mic, should your ass be grass and sent home immediately? Here's the audio. This was audio, by the way, from the snowboard men's big air finals. Here's that audio. If it wants to play, let's try that.
And coverage of the men's big air medal ceremony will continue on Peacock.
That was boring. That was so boring. Qualifier was way more exciting.
That was boring.
Oh,
You shouldn't be calling a sport if you think a switch backside 1980 with a mute grab is boring.
so what you're telling me, Diesel, from what I've heard from you and now this announcer, you're wanting to convince me to watch a sport that the announcers calling the sport think is boring? Oh, what chance do I have?
It's not a boring sport. It's a terrible announcer. I mean, come on. So again, the winning jump.
Yeah.
Kira Kimura of Japan.
Who's that?
Kira Kimura.
Kimura. Okay.
Landed a switch backside 1980 with a mute grab. Now, that probably sounds like gibberish.
It sounds like
to you.
I have no idea what that means.
It means that he was riding opposite foot forward to what he normally rides, to what he naturally rides. So that particular rider, Kira Kimura, rides regular, which means left foot forward. But in this situation, he's riding switch, so he's riding right foot forward.
Okay.
He started by turning his back towards the landing zone. So from the top down, he's turning counterclockwise. He did 5.5 rotations and grabbed the toe edge of his board with his right hand, stuck the landing. It was clean. It was perfect. That's an incredible athletic feat.
And
to
you
be
know,
able to pull that off. And then to have somebody say, it was boring. Qualifiers were better.
I guess here's where I struggle, because we've talked about this last week a little bit. I have not been able to get into the Olympics in my lifetime. I guess what I like, I hear you, and I understand that it is an incredible athletic feat to do what a lot of these athletes are doing. I don't deny that. It's not for me about me thinking, oh, this isn't impressive, or these guys suck, like Dewey thinks everything sucks, or, these guys aren't good athletes. I acknowledge they're good athletes, and I acknowledge that, like, the sports they're doing, it's really impressive. I just don't know why I can't get more interested in those sports. Coming from somebody who loves sports.
Picture the jump that I just described, right?
Okay.
Opposite direction from normal, spinning the opposite direction of what is natural to spin.
Yeah.
Grabbing the board between your bindings, 5.5 full rotations. Now you have a play-by-play caller who sounds like this going through the action.
Are you kidding me?
Eligible fans here in Milwaukee.
Just put the freak in the basket.
Is that Leprechaun and Lyman calling that?
No, that's Eric Collins.
I know. I like
the
Eric.
radio
He's the
play-by-play
best.
for the Charlotte Hornets. He's amazing.
He's the
But
best.
you land this jump and you're like, that makes it seem unbelievable. Now, I'll say this. Big Air is not my favorite event.
Like
right?
the place?
Big Air,
Like the trampoline park?
no.
Oh.
This is, that's maybe what the Big Air trampoline park is named after. But if you're doing insane 5.5 rotation tricks the way that they are,
Sure.
and everyone is doing it, it seems like it's fairly easy, right? I
Yeah.
mean, back in the day, landing a 720 was a huge deal, and that's 2 rotations. This is 5.5 rotations. I mean, these kids are learning how to do this in like gymnastics classes from the time they're 5 years old. So that's why they're able to achieve this and have it look so crazy smooth. But that doesn't mean that it's not spectacular.
No, it does. And to answer your question, yes, it would help if I had an announcer like that was commentating. There's no doubt. I get excited when I do games. I love announcers that get excited. Like, I love it. So no issue there. I'm glad you brought something up real quick, though, because I did have this question over the weekend. I woke up Saturday morning. I slept in, and I woke up, and I turned the TV on immediately, and I did flip through the Olympics. I'm not going to say how long it stayed on that channel, but I did flip through it. And the thought, Diesel, did cross my mind, and it goes exactly what you just brought up. I did wonder, laying in my bed on Saturday morning, I thought to myself, what do these people train? Like, if you play football or basketball, you grow up playing football, you grow up playing basketball, but you don't hear about these type of sports being popular at a young level. So I do find it fascinating where and how these athletes picked up those sports and got so good at them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, they do it in facilities that have interior ramps, and then also have like foam pits that they can jump into.
Kind of like big air.
You're not going to try a double backflip on actual snow for the first time. Like, you go and you learn that you can do it, that you have the ability to control your body in that way in a place that's safe. So if you wipe out, you land in a big old pile of foam. It's not going to hurt you. So, but that's also why they're able to hit 5.5 rotations, because they're learning in a place where they can do it without hurting themselves, and they can learn to become fearless. Now, like, I worked at a ski mountain. There were like little 5-year-olds out there who were better snowboarders than me.
That's crazy.
And I've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
You know why? Because number one, little kids are fearless. Number two, when they fall down, it doesn't hurt them the way that it does when we fall down, right? Like, you fall down on your butt, your hips are going to hurt for a week. A little kid does it. They just pop right back up and they just keep on going. And then they learn not to be afraid of it because, again, they're doing it from such a small age.
I think what you just said is a great reason. And I mean like great with a capital Great. Great reason for Big Air to sponsor this very radio show and for you and I to have some sort of competition battle, because I find all that you just said fascinating. But what would be fascinating to our Tolos is seeing us do it, seeing us try it. We're getting up there in age. I'm not quite.
Flips? Would you?
I try it. Yeah, I try. I can't do one. I know for a fact I can't do a backflip. But would I try to make fun of myself and potentially hurt myself, and for it to be, at the expense of others? Yeah, of course. Would you try a backflip at Big Air?
Yeah, if I knew I could come down in a place that wouldn't hurt me.
Like those foam, what are those? What do you call those?
Foam pits.
Foam pits.
Yeah, it's just big old blocks of foam that you just jump into. You don't hurt yourself.
I'm down. I would 100% try it. And you know what? Maybe that right there. Maybe there's, bam. We've just solved the riddle. We've solved the puzzle as to why I, Cole Bryson, haven't been interested in the Olympics. Maybe it's because I've never tried any of these things. I love baseball, Diesel, because at one point in my life when I was the same size as everybody else, I played baseball, right? Then everybody else got taller, faster, and I stayed short and white and fat and wasn't able to play baseball at a high level.
You're a heck of a catcher.
Yeah, but I wasn't as skilled as catchers are supposed to be skilled. So I didn't put in the pride. Same thing with football, basketball. We all love these sports because, at one point in our life, we played them. Maybe that's the reason right there that I've never, ever, ever grabbed the broom and broomed in front of the stone. I've never done that before. So I don't know what it's like to curling. Is that right?
Curling. Yeah.
See, I don't know. I don't have any experience doing it. So I think
you a clip this weekend.
I did
watch.
No, I did.
Enthralled by that clip.
I thought it was funny. The reason I thought it was funny is because they take it so serious. They should. It's the Olympics, but it's kind of funny to watch, though, right?
Yeah.
It's just me being ignorant to what all these Olympic sports are. I'm like, what are they? They're taking this so serious. What are they doing? This guy's mopping so the stone can
It is the goofiest looking sport.
It
in the
is
Olympics,
so
that's for sure.
weird looking.
Yeah.
Like, how do you think you would pull a chick? You just get done curling and say, look at me, ladies. I just got done with this broom, mopping. I mean, I'd make a good husband because I can sweep really hard and really fast.
You would have like forearm pump and shoulder pump.
That's true.
If you got a gold medal hanging around your neck, I think that fixes a lot of things.
Well, yeah, that's a fair point.
As it stands right now, in case anyone's curious, the United States sits in 7th place in the medal count.
Is that overall?
Overall, that is total medals regardless of color. Now, the U.S. is tied for 2nd place when it comes to the most number of gold medals.
Okay.
Norway has 3 golds. Switzerland has 3 golds. Japan, the U.S., and Germany have 2. And then there's a couple of countries that have 1 gold medal. Now, there is one sport, Cole, that I feel like I have a way to get you into.
All right.
And that would be speed skating, and particularly women's speed skating, because, number one, we have an amazing female athlete that competes for America.
Oh.
That is definitely worth tuning in to watch. But also, there is a Dutch a Dutch skater named Jutta Leerdam, and she is mighty fine looking.
Easy on the eyes.
Very easy on the eyes.
Yeah.
Problem is, and spoiler alert, she just won a medal tonight. Well, just won a medal today, but it's going to air tonight live on Peacock. So you'll see it happen tonight on the air in prime time.
Wait a minute. You're telling me something's already happened? You know about it before it's on TV?
Yeah.
Oh, that's no fun.
It's called the internet, man.
That's no fun. The Olympics should be. I thought the Olympics were live.
Well, they are at 5 a.m. You can tune in and watch the internet the Olympics live at 5.
Yeah, maybe that's another problem, and I think our male audience would agree with this as well. You tell me, Tolo's out there. Is that another problem with the Winter Olympics, that there's just too much clothing?
Oh, so you would rather see these speed skaters do what they do in a one piece?
I didn't say that. I just asking the question. Just asking. I just asked.
The one sad thing for all of us men, not for me because I'm a married man, but you're single. Utah is engaged to Jake Paul, which is a head scratcher because she is a smoke show and Jake Paul is, well, a giant turd.
Well, so she might think he's attractive.
Might, I guess.
Yeah, I guess she has to. I mean, I don't know that she would be with it. Well, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes money talks, I guess. She's probably got a lot of money too, right?
I would think so. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of endorsement opportunities for her. Cole, there's some big events that are going on today. You're going to see these tonight at 8:00 as they air in blocks of highlights on Prime. In prime time, there'll be the women's skiing slope style final. That's on skis with rails and jumps mixed together. There's curling, which I know you love, USA versus Italy. The speed skating women's 1,000 meter final, the one that I was talking about just a second ago. It's the second shortest discipline of speed skating. It's 3 laps on the course. And yes, they're competing against each other, but really they're competing for time against the field. So
yeah, it's like almost like qualifying kind of, right?
Exactly. But they divvy out medals that way. There's alpine skiing. There's women's big air final with American Chloe Kim competing in this. She's like one of the most decorated female athletes in American history. So those are going to be airing tonight at 8:00 on Peacock.
Those are for people that don't want to get up at 5 a.m. is what you're saying.
There's no more sports left.
Okay.
Right? We have college basketball. We're not at tournament time, so there's some people who are not checked into this thing yet. But I'm telling you, man, if you love America, if you love your country, you got to tune in and watch.
Let me ask you this: 7th, you being the Olympic buff here, how does that compare? We're 7th in the medal count. Does that? I mean, do we have a chance? Are we out of it? Are we still in it? I mean, what? Give me an analysis.
We're definitely still in it. It depends on if you mean like total medals or if you mean gold medals. We're certainly in it for the most number of gold medals, and that's the only thing that matters, really.
So we want to have more gold than anybody else.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of course. And some of our gold medal events have been in team events. So even though the 2 teams won gold medals, like 30 Americans are going home with a big old hunk of gold the size of a hubcap.
I want to try some of these Olympic sports. You know, last year during what's the combine? Combine's in soon, right? March?
Yeah, we'll have the draft in April, right?
Yeah, so the draft's in April, so the combine's going to be in March. Last year during the combine, you and I did the 40-yard dash. right? And I ran a good 40 time, and nobody believed me. They said that Rob Jones was like, makeshifting the time, and I didn't get any credit. So now we need to get this Big Air sponsorship secured so we can try these Olympics. I don't know if Big Air you can do any Olympics. I don't know where I got that from, but
you're at a high school, Cole, and they record these things for recruiting purposes. So why don't we just meet up at Burns High School and do it official?
But we need you're talking about the Olympic sports, right? We got to figure out. I mean,
I'm
talking about the curling. I'm talking about do they do that on ice?
They do that on ice. Yeah,
we had our opportunity.
Can I just put you in a refrigerator or like a restaurant cooler and see how long you could stay in there?
Be bad. Hey, we had our opportunity 2 weekends ago to do the curling, right? We got all the ice and we missed it. We missed it. We absolutely missed it. That's a shame.
Too bad.
Yeah.
It's too bad.
No, I will. You're right. The weeknights are different now. I'll continue to try to watch. Like I was thinking about, I have Burns basketball tonight, so I'll get home at like 9 or so. And I usually will check college basketball scores, Diesel, before I turn a game on to see, if I even have any interest. Like I did try to watch South Carolina over the weekend, and my God, they're so hard to. I'm not trying to be mean or disrespectful to Lamont Paris, but they're so hard to watch, even against bad teams.
Well, season's over for them, and they know it.
I tried, man, and like I know the SEC's tough, but those guys are terrible. Not to get on a tangent, they're I don't even know if terrible is the right word. It was an SEC game, it was a decent crowd, right, at home, and Missouri ended up winning 78-59. I mean, there's nothing competitive right now about South Carolina basketball. So
losing
maybe
by 19 at home. I mean, I'm surprised they still have the attendance that they have.
I know. Then there was actually a good crowd Saturday. That's what's crazy.
They're gonna have to do like they did 3 years ago, where they close down the upper deck and they just bring everybody down. Yeah,
for COVID, or was that the COVID years?
I think so. I thought it was a little later than that.
They're hard to watch, though. They're hard to watch. So with that being said, Gamecock basketball, men's basketball, might be the reason that I do more Olympic watch. I think that's a good opportunity to do so.
Some texting interaction on this topic. Texter wants to know, did you guys see Lindsey Von's crash?
Yeah, I did, by the way.
Brutal.
Which one? Didn't she crash twice?
Well, she crashed in training, and then she crashed in
Saturday or Sunday,
run, I think. And it was like 13 seconds into the run, 13 seconds into like a minute and a half, 2-minute run.
I thought that was Tua Tagovailoa out there for a minute.
Turns out you do need ACLs to compete at a high level. Who knew?
No, I did see that. That was a nasty crash.
Yeah, it was bad. Texter says she, meaning Yuta, likes Jake because he has a sensitive side and isn't afraid to cry when she wins a medal. I've gotten two updates about him being in tears. He did cry when she won gold. Jake was just boo-hooing, sobbing in the crowd. I mean, it's awesome to see somebody you care about win a gold medal. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's there's a lot of sacrifice to get you to that point. Texter says Chloe Kim dates Myles Garrett. Didn't know that. I can't believe he doesn't crush her because Myles, big guy, Chloe's a little girl.
God. What are we talking about here? Crushing her, getting a little rated R.
No, not crushing like that. I mean, just like squashing her because he's really big.
It's
she's
a
really
family-friendly show, Diesel.
Since when?
Hey, I do want to know though, Grayson, man, you see him on the stream. He's coming up. I'm on location. We don't know if this is going to work, so we're going to try it like right now with Grayson, man, before we run to a break. And see, Grayson, I'm on location. We may have to get you on the phone today because Diesel's back in the Ingles Market Studios. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. I heard the crush thing too.
See, and we can't hear Grayson.
Oh, no. All right. He can hear us, but we can't.
We might have to go phone. We'll let you know during the break.
Okay.
Grayson, man, TigerNet.com next right here on the Fan Upstate.
text or call. One number does it all. 844-326-3663. That's 844-FAN-PHONE. This is Wire to Wire with Cole, Bryson, and Diesel on the Fan Upstate.
Well, Tolos, if you are accustomed to seeing the beautiful face of Grayson Mann on the stream every Monday at 4:22, you're not going to be able to today because for whatever reason, the stream and the Comrex, I'm on location, something just doesn't jive. And there's just not good chemistry between the two. Kind of like the chemistry that wasn't there between the offensive line and the quarterback last night for New England Patriots. Hey, Grayson, how are you, man?
I was good with the beautiful face comment, and you kind of just took me down. That was a pretty roller coaster intro right there.
I just appreciate the fact that you're still joining us because a lot of our listeners, when their team loses, we don't hear from them for months.
I would not miss this segment for the world.
Should Mike Vrabel, while we're on the topic, should Mike Vrabel be fired for not benching Drake May with a bum shoulder?
I don't think that's the concern of mine heading into the offseason.
You know, it's interesting, Grayson. We talked about it. You know, we both said, and I joked with you last week, I didn't see any way New England would win. My 4 takeaways, and I want you to tell me where you agree or disagree. My 4 takeaways with last night were, number 1, the game seemed underwhelming because of how overwhelming Seattle's defense was. Number 2, I thought my second takeaway was Drake May was horrible. Number 3, Drake May was horrible because of how horrible New England's offensive line was. And then 4, my final takeaway, I don't feel like Josh McDaniels helped his quarterback last night after seeing that, hey, Seattle's 4-man front, they're just getting home every time. Where do you stand on what your biggest takeaways were and if you agree or disagree with mine?
Yeah, Cole, I'll tell you a story. It was halftime, and it was 9-0, and in the background, my dad's telling me, hey, it's not over yet, and not really wanting to sit around during the halftime show, I went and took a walk with the dog.
Oh.
And I was watching the game with a buddy of mine who's also a Pats fan, and we were kind of saying it without saying it, but both of us pretty much knew at that point it was probably over. I mean, the points you laid out, Seattle's defense absolutely there's not really much like it that I've seen in a Super Bowl. I mean, you watched the Eagles beat up the Chiefs last year, but I felt like at all 3 levels, Seattle was entirely dominant. And yeah, I think Drake May certainly deserves a share of the blame from last night, but when your left tackle gives up 14 pressures, which I think is the most in NFL history, there's something to be said about the level of talent that he's working with out there on the Super Bowl. And I think now that you kind of have a full season to think about it and sort of the big picture with the Patriots is, it's still weird to say this, even though they're in the Super Bowl last night, but that's still a roster that's undergoing a rebuild. And so when I look at the talent at receiver, the talent at running back, I still feel like New England, I do think defensively that's a championship caliber roster, but offensively you don't really have the skill talent to be able to overcome some of those deficiencies. And I agree with you on your final point. I don't really feel like McDaniels called a great game, especially given the fact that you got a mobile quarterback. Let's roll him out and see if we can get him comfortable. I think it was just a disaster on all fronts last night, and New England got thoroughly beaten up because of it.
Talking to Grayson Mann of TigerNet.com. New England's trip to California didn't go well, but Brad Brownell's did. The Tigers' defense suffocating as usual. They held Cal to just 55 points on Saturday, 20 in the first half, 35 in the second half. But giving up second half points and a lopsided number of second half points has kind of been Clemson's MO this season. Talk about Brad Brownell's second half adjustments or possibly lack thereof, and why do you think teams are finding so much extra success on Clemson in the second half?
It's really interesting, Diesel, with the way Clemson sort of structured this year, where the first half, and we can just use Cal as an example, where you don't feel like they can make any type of shot. And you got to give a lot of credit to Clemson's defense for being able to give yourself a chance there. And I feel like the difference in that second half, where you've seen the script before, where we're talking on this segment with BYU or Cincinnati, where first half you can't script it much better, but offensively you just don't have enough juice to be able to sustain it. Because I think at some point, at that level of intensity on defense, I'm not sure that's entirely sustainable for 40 minutes unless there's probably a team that you could probably reference in college basketball history that's that level of defense, but to be able to ask that out of your guys for a full 40 minutes is a pretty tall task. So I really felt like offensively, Clemson just had to match Cal's pace, and for the most part, that's what they did. And so this group has found different ways to win. The Stanford game, you hold them out for the last 5 minutes without a basket, and that ends up being the difference. So one blowout and one suffocation at the end is a 2-0 West Coast trip where North Carolina, who just beat Duke this weekend, they went 0-2 and got clobbered out on those spots. You got to give Clemson a lot of credit for getting it done. I certainly didn't expect a sweep.
You know, it's interesting, man. This team, I think they continue to, I don't want to say like surprise the nation, Grayson, but it is an interesting form in which they keep winning. You know, like they're not the sexiest team out there. They're not up there in all these different team or individual metrics, but man, they just continue to play this really good defense. And, you know, they just kind of, They have this weird ability to kind of just go blow for blow with you and not make it look like anything special. I think this is one of the better Brad Brownell coaching jobs that he's done, because I don't think this is the most talented team. I think last year's team was a little bit more talented when you just talk about raw talent. What do you think the Brad Brownell mark is on this team that you've seen the most this year?
I'm right with you there, Cole. I think surprise is certainly the right word. I had them as a 19-win team heading into the season just because you lose over 90% of your scoring production with the Jaden Zachary's, the Chase Hunters, the Ian Shefflins. I mean, we could go on and on about all the familiar faces they lost. So, yeah, they had a great portal haul, but how would it all come together? So I think everyone's sort of been waiting budding what Clemson's been able to do, and I think that's what makes this Duke game so fascinating is that this really is going to be a true test of how much that star power or lack thereof for Clemson is going to affect them, because Duke's going to come in with a top-heavy lineup that's going to be able to shoot the lights out, play great defense, and has those recognizable names that'll be playing in the NBA. How does that translate with Clemson? I think what one of Brad Brownell's best jobs has been sort of the development of the reserves, where an Ace Buckner can come in and give you double digits. Nick Davidson, probably hasn't been the superstar that he was in Nevada, but is leading that second unit. And, of course, that defense. I don't think I've seen a closeout defense better than Clemson's in college basketball. It's been really phenomenal to watch, where it's probably a collection of B to B plus players playing A plus basketball more than not this season.
Talking to Grayson Mann of Tiger Net. 3 questions in one for you, Grayson. What is the ceiling, what is the floor, and the overall fan expectation for Eric Bakic's team this year in 2026?
Yeah, I think that the expectation is to play in the postseason. And regardless of where that may be, I think Clemson fans would be shocked if Bakic is not somewhere represented with these Tigers in the postseason. So I think that's probably the floor. And I think the ceiling probably has a lot to do with this pitching staff, which we're going to find out a good deal about in the next few weeks, where how does Bakic rotate this group? We're going to talk to him tomorrow. He said a big factor this offseason was letting those guys rest, particularly someone like Aiden Canuck, who doesn't have to come in and add a few pitches. It's more just refining what he already has. So I think it's going to come down to that pitching staff, and that's kind of been the same talking point for Clemson baseball in the offseason, where it's really going to come down to those arms. And maybe offensively they're not going to be as powerful with the Cam Canarella, but Bakic spoke pretty highly about the power hitting they have. We had Ben Paulson, who's the director of player development, on our podcast. He feels great about Clemson's lineup and how deep it could be 1 through 9. So I do think postseason's the expectation. Regardless where they end up, I think we'll find out in the next few weeks about their potential once we get into ACC play.
Grayson, how the heck do you replace a guy like Cam Canarella?
I don't really think you do.
Yeah.
It's pretty it's a remarkable talent out there that we got to witness for the last several years. I don't really feel like you go into the season thinking we need one specific guy to do it. I think it might have to just be a collection at this point. I mean, that's a generational talent that's leaving your roster. So certainly will be interesting to see who is out there at center field and what kind of offense. I think the thing you can't really replace is Cannarella's clutch factor. It felt like every big moment, number 10 was out there making things happen. So certainly going to have to see who steps up in this Tiger roster. But no one really quite did it like Cam Cannarella.
Grayson, UNC was fined $50,000 for storming the court on Saturday against Duke, but they stormed the court twice. So should they have been charged $100K?
It's like sort of the double offense after I really didn't get to catch the storm court portion of it. I saw Shire's presser and his comments about
crying.
How it all went down. Someone got smacked in the face. It was just this sequence of events, and Duke really has been on the receiving end of these court stormings where I think Clemson last year there was a problem. So this is a repeat offense against Duke, which is unfortunate for those players. But Brad Brown talked about it this morning, saying there's got to be probably a more efficient manner of protecting these guys. But as far as fines go, I'm not sure how that's adjudicated or if they're in the film lab still trying to figure out if UNC is about to get another $50,000 fine in the mail.
Grayson, where do you, and by the way, talking to Grayson, manoftigernet.com, if you just tuned in and you have a question for Grayson, you can get it in the Joy Law Firm text line at 844-326-3663. Where would you stand in terms of seeding? Because now we are kind of entering turn 4 of the season. We're looking at the next games, this next stretch for Clemson coming back home. We know they've got some tough ones on the schedule. When you look at their seeding, though, do you think Clemson ends up around a 6, maybe 7, maybe 8? Where do you feel like they land?
I think this weekend, Cole, is a big one because you have to really start thinking about where Clemson lands. Let's say they upset Duke on the road. I think that probably slots them up to maybe a 4 seed if the season kind of plays out in this just natural sense. It's going to be a big win for Clemson. And I think what's maybe held them back from being a top 5 seed and above has been maybe the conference schedule hasn't been as strong, where you haven't really had to go against the murderer's row of Duke, North Carolina, Virginia. You haven't really faced those teams quite yet. You got wins over Miami, you got Cal, and a couple others, but it's sort of that tier 2 teams that you've beaten that I think probably some analysts and some bracketologists are waiting for this Duke game to see where they stack up. But let's say they beat Duke. I think the sky's the limit as to where they could be seated, and then still the ACC regular season title comes into play. If Clemson can find itself in the top 2 of that, I think at bare minimum they should be a 5 seed.
Grayson, why do you think it is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong in thinking that this isn't really Brad Brownell's MO. He's a defensive-minded coach. He's put elite defenses on the court multiple years in a row. Always seems to struggle to find that one NBA type of scorer out of the transfer portal. Can you let us know, is he chasing down those kinds of guys, or is he really looking for guys that fit his system first?
I think part of it is those NBA type level scorers aren't going in the transfer portal. They're putting their name in the NBA draft. So there's a vacuum of talent that you're kind of looking for, where I think in the portal, and this is what's really unique about the college basketball portal as opposed to the NFL, where there's NFL talent all across the portal. It's just because they have to wait a few years to enter it. All these freshmen that you see lighting it up on any ever given day, they're going to be putting their name in the draft, and they're setting their sights to what lottery pick they're going to be. So I think Clemson's looking for a specific type of player. And I do think that I think the closest you probably had to a talent that you felt like was different from Clemson's model was Zach Foster. I really have been incredibly high on him. I believe we talked about him multiple times before he went down with the ACL injury. If he's still healthy today, guys, I think it would not surprise me if he would have already been their best player.
Yeah. No, I think that's a big part of it, what they could have been with him as good as they are now. Grayson, my last question for you. When you look at the landscape of college basketball, we've seen, like, that Duke North Carolina game was interesting on Saturday for many, many reasons. I just wonder, though, do you see competition out there in the top 25? The newest top 25 was released today. Do you see competition out there that you think in your mind would give Clemson a fit or be a concern for Clemson come postseason, whether it's a a guard combination or style of play or whatever it might be?
Yeah, I think, and admittedly, I think outside of my ACC bubble, my college basketball scope is a little limited just because of the nature of Clemson's on. Kind of probably put a priority on them and the ACC. But I think that the games that have given Clemson the most trouble this year have been the teams that can switch from 1 to 5. And what I mean by that is you have like an athletic big, or you're probably playing a smaller lineup, and so you're able to interchange a lot of defenders. And so for a less athletic Clemson team, which, again, this is what will make this Duke matchup so fascinating, is they can do this, and they're hyper-athletic at every spot, is you're really going to challenge that prototype that Clemson has where they play really staunch defense, but athletically, you're not going to be sitting there wowed. Like, there's not a Chase Hunter or even a Lock-in inside who can really move like that to really give Clemson that extra edge. So I think there's a certain way to beat Clemson, and they've had some adjustments and tweaks to be able to make that a little bit more difficult. But I would say that if you watch the Duke game this weekend, I think that's going to kind of tell you a lot about where Clemson's ceiling is when it comes to a run in March, where they could run into maybe a 4 seed that gives them trouble. Or it's one of those situations where, again, this tournament's very matchup dependent. So I think it's going to come down to a variety of factors there. But I think that ability to switch 1 through 5, we saw it with NC State. I think that's the formula right there that could give Clemson trouble.
Grayson, I know this isn't your beat, so you can tell me you don't know the answer to this question. That's totally fine. But just any thoughts on the 3-2 start for the softball team?
Yeah, I mean, they picked up that massive win against Oregon. And so I feel like this is a softball team that is still really young. And last year, you had that big run to Texas in the Super Regional, and you felt like some of that freshman talent, it was only a matter of time. So, yeah, they stumbled a little bit, but I think they still have that marquee win to be able to hang their head on. And those tournaments are always tough because you're away from home, you're playing teams you're unfamiliar with. So it's always kind of a mixed bag, but I still expect Clemson softball to be a threat in terms of being contenders this year. They're absolutely going to be there.
Grayson, you're the best as always, man. We appreciate you. Sorry about your loss last night, but hey, at least your team was there, and that's all that matters. We'll talk to you next week.
You know, Cole, you're the first person to apologize for it. I think a lot of people are probably dancing on my grave today.
No,
so
man.
I appreciate you guys.
Oh, Cole, you keep talking like that, he might not join us next Monday. Grayson, appreciate your time.
Y'all take care.
You too, man. It's good stuff.
Grayson, man, of TigerNet.com. When we come back, Cole, let's whip around the sports world, see what's happening in our daily.
namby-pamby sports takes at the door. Call in if you're man enough.
844 Fan Phone. This is Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
A busy weekend in sports, Cole. Let's tackle it all in one go in our Daily Wire. The buzz happening around the sports world. The Seattle Seahawks are your Super Bowl 60 champions with a 29-13 win over New England. The leading scorer for both teams was Seahawks kicker Jason Myers, who went 5 for 5 for field goals and 2 for 2 for extra points, good for 17 points in the game. Yet somehow Kenneth Walker III is your MVP. Make that make sense.
He was good. He was good, and he's had a good career in the NFL, man. Out of Michigan, do you know he started at Wake Forest and went to Michigan State? How about that, man?
Crazy. A kicker has never won NFL MVP. Justice for the kickers. How about that?
Well, yeah, I understand why. They're not athletes.
South Carolina softball is in action, and they're absolutely mashing the ball. The number 12 Gamecocks scored 15 runs to upend Syracuse over the weekend, 12 hits, 4 doubles, and a home run. They sit 3-2 after the Gamecock Invitational, falling to Virginia Tech 4-8, beating Syracuse, losing to Virginia Tech again 5-8, beating Binghamton 9-1, and Winthrop 18-0. So they're hitting the ball well early. They'll be back in action in the Carolina Classic starting Friday at 1:30. They'll face a combination of Louisville, Boston University, and Kennesaw State. As mentioned when we were talking to Grayson Mann a minute ago, Sean Poppy's Clemson softball team has started their season 3-2 with wins over Southeastern Louisiana, Oregon, and Liberty, followed by back-to-back losses against Auburn and Michigan State. All this was part of the NFCA Leadoff Classic in Clearwater, Florida.
John Rittman and the softball team. Didn't want
Sean Poppy,
basketball.
Yeah, sorry.
Didn't want to have you. Somebody would text in and tell you, hey, Sean Poppy's women's basketball coach.
Apologies for not having the women's coaches right off the top of my head. Sorry, John Rittman, didn't mean that. South Carolina and NC State have mutually agreed to cancel their home-and-home series that would have been played in Columbia in 2030 and Raleigh in 2031.
They're scared. They're scared.
Sad casualty of the 9-game conference schedule. I'm going to stay with football here. It's official. North Dakota State is moving to the Mountain West, but for football only.
How about that?
Play there this year, Cole. That's how the transition used to be, a 3-year period. Now it's like 6 months and you're in if you've got the cash for it. It's going to cost them $12 million to join the Mountain West, plus an additional $5 million going to the NCAA to move to FBS.
I saw that over the weekend, man, and I know we'll dive more into it later in the 5 o'clock hour, but that's interesting. I've got some thoughts. I know you do, but I think it's pretty interesting.
I do. And remember when the $5 million was meant to be a deterrent
to
keep the FCS schools from moving up? Well, not no mo. North Dakota State, by the way, has won 10 of the last 15 FCS national championships. UNC fans stormed the court in Chapel Hill twice after what we thought was a buzzer-beating 3 over Duke. Freshman Seth Trimble hit the corner 3 as time seemingly expired. Fans stormed the court. Refs looked at it, put 0.4 seconds back on the clock. They had to clear the court. They had to clean the court. And then as time expired, they rushed the court again. The ACC is fining UNC $50,000 per league policy.
Well, you know what? Like, I get it. It's where we are with court storming. I guess I'm kind of old school. Like, I know it's dangerous, but Diesel, it's kind of part of the game. It's kind of part of it. I know that's after the game.
I look at it like this. If you really wanted to stop court storming, especially in the games where you believe it's likely, like when you're playing Duke on your home court, have some extra security. It's not that hard. Have extra security.
Yeah.
Just do it. Or put a minefield around the court. I don't know. I don't know what the option is.
I like that one.
Speaking of fines, Oklahoma State has been fined $50,000 over the anti-Mormon chants that were levied towards BYU in their game last week.
That's bad.
Clemson men's basketball went 2-0 in its California road trip in resounding fashion, pounding Cal 77-55. Carter Welling, Jake Wallin, RJ Godfrey, and Ace Buckner all finished with double-digit scoring.
You go I'm sorry. I was just going to say you go to Cal and get 2 wins. It's pretty good.
That's good. Furman fell to UNC Greensboro last night, 67-64. Tough loss for the Paladins. This lets UNCG reach 500 in SoCon play, and the Paladins fall to 7-5 in conference.
How about that?
The Sun Belt went 10-3 in the second leg of the MAC Sun Belt Challenge. All games this round were held on Sun Belt floors. Coastal beat UMass with an overtime 3-point buzzer beater off the fingers of Joshua Beadle with 2 seconds to go. Also in this challenge, Miami of Ohio stays unbeaten. They beat Marshall 90-74 at Marshall.
How about
the Waste Management Phoenix Open came down to playoff holes with Chris Goddard ultimately beating Hideki Matsuyama. Chris earned $1.73 million for his victory. Scotty Scheffler, at one time, Cole was in danger of missing the cut. He came all the way back to tie for third with scores of 65, 67, and 64 in rounds 2, 3, and 4.
I saw that, man, and I just remembered us talking about on Friday how bad a shape he was in. And then I was somewhere Sunday, and I saw the leaderboard on the television, and I saw Scotty in third. I was like, what? Wait, what?
Never count him out.
He's that good, man. He's that good.
And locally here, last one for you. Hillcrest High School will be looking for a new head coach. Bennett Swigert is headed to Clover to lead the Blue Eagles. He was 26-11 in 3 seasons at Hillcrest. Tell us about that.
Well, I'll dive more into it at 5:45. 5:45, because I have a little rant complaining to do as well. But huge hire for Clover. Bad loss for Hillcrest. He's a great guy, great coach, and a friend of mine, and I hate losing him to the Clover School District. He's a good one for sure. Diesel, we have to overreact. Tolos, it's your chance to overreact. Phone lines are open, 844-326-3663. Overreaction Monday, next.
courts. And the irons the tracks.
Electrifying sports talk from start to finish
You're going wire to wire
with Diesel and Cole Bryson.
on the Fan Upstate.
So much to overreact to. We want to hear what your overreaction is on this Overreaction Monday. Diesel's got an overreaction. I've got an overreaction. I'm sure Dewey will have an overreaction. It'll sound like Oprah on the Fan Upstate because everybody's going to have an overreaction in this very segment. If you've never called the show before, we'd love to hear from you for the very first time today. 844-326-3663. Phone lines are wide open. Well, they're open. Got a couple of callers on hold, but room for you. Again, 844-326-3663. That's the number. If you have to text, you can also put your overreaction on the Joy Law Firm text line, 844-FAN-PHONE, same thing, FANFONE. You can also watch the show live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Mark Ello Ducks talking on the stream about his experience with some of these Olympic sports. Good stuff there. If you haven't already done so, or if you've never watched the show before, give it a shot. You can do so at home on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Diesel, we have overreactions, but we'll let the Tolos go first. Do you want to let the Tolos go first today? Might as well.
Have they earned it, though?
Yeah.
That's the question. Have they earned the right to go first?
Has Dewey ever earned anything? That's a good question. We'll start with Dewey. What's your overreaction, Dewey, on this Overreaction Monday?
Yes, I earned a lot of things in life.
Okay. Like what?
In the last 5 minutes, probably nothing, but I'm sure I earned something.
Okay.
But first of all, I want to say, I'm going to try to be positive since I was accused of being negative. Even though negativity is the truth. The best thing about the Super Bowl, I think, was the Seattle defense. They came to play. They put a hurting on Drake Mayfield. They probably let the crater on the field where he got sacked about 6 times. Drake got sacked 20 times in the postseason. That is unacceptable to the New England Patriots offensive line. That should be addressed. That poor kid probably had like 50 concussions by the time it was all said and done last night. But anyways, New England Patriots, they did terrible. Seattle, they did okay enough to win, and then the game just got unraveled, and then that was it. Sam Darnold, he got his Super Bowl ring. Now he can retire because he ain't going to be no good next year, even though y'all owe him an apology.
Why do we owe him an apology?
Because y'all said he sucked, and even though he does suck, he proved he could suck and still win a Super Bowl. So that's pretty okay in my book.
Well, if he sucked and we said he sucked, that makes us right. Why should we apologize for being right?
Well, if he really did suck, he wouldn't have won the Super Bowl.
I don't know that we said he sucked. I don't know what
he would have thrown 3 interceptions and did some foolishness out there. But he was mediocre, but his team did enough for him to win, so good for him. Now, as for the halftime shows, they're terrible, and I got one solution for the halftime show. It's time to go marching band. Why don't they get like the marching band from Burns High School or Clinton High School or the local high school in California to come out and do some patriotic or just say Yankee Doodle went to town or something. Because everyone wants to get all political anyway, so what's so cute about having teenagers do it? Because no one's going to criticize teenagers. And as far as Lamont Parish and the South Carolina Gamecocks are concerned, they're horrible. I put that game on for like the first 2 minutes of the game. I turned it off. It was like 17-7.
They do
and
suck.
I don't even know if they knew they were playing basketball or playing keep away. I don't know if they know how to play anymore because they don't want to play basketball. So that's all I got today. The Olympics, I'm not watching them because they're fake. Oh.
That was a weird mix of Dewey trying to be positive, but also at the same time still being negative about everything. That
How
was
are
it.
the Olympics fake?
Diesel.
It's best not to ask questions.
Yes.
You know, It's just best not to ask.
That's a good point. Good point. Let's go to Dan B, who wants to overreact. Tolos, if you just tuned into the show, we want you to overreact. 844-326-3663. We want your overreaction right now. Mark L.O. Duck says on the stream, Dewey, you're fake. Call him out, Mark. Dan B, what's your overreaction?
Yeah, Super Bowl sucks. Lots of commercials suck.
God, now you got him talking like Dewey, too.
Free football game show sucks.
Everything sucks.
Yeah, that was just a travesty of a game. They all need to be fired.
But you know what? We think it sucked, but like we said earlier, Dan, Seattle's defense was so good, but now everybody thinks, the game sucked.
Oh, what does everybody want? Do they want to see 30-29? Do they want to see 10-0? Don't get me wrong. 10-0 is about as boring as you can get.
I think that's the truth, though, Dan. I think people want they want both these teams to come out offensively and score like 28-24. They want to see a pick six going the other direction. They only want
block
defense
punt,
when
right?
It turns into scores.
Right, exactly. No, I agree. So now, NFL's over. It's NASCAR time.
Oh, God.
Let's get there. Daytona 500 this week. The Fantasy League is still there. Get me an email address. I can send a link for anyone else that wants to join. So if they want to text in their email address, I'll add whoever.
Do I have to get my picks in every week?
I'm out because I suck at getting picks in.
Every week.
That's
You
why.
let Cole stay in it last year, and he didn't get his.
No,
picks
I'm
in.
done. I can't. I'm not good at it.
I reminded him every week for about the first 10, and then I stopped.
I
Can
am
I auto-draft?
withdrawing.
No, you can't auto draft. That's not how that.
I'm out.
All right.
Who's going to win the Daytona 500, Dan?
Oh, say again.
Who's going to win the Daytona 500 Sunday?
Oh, that's always a crapshoot. It's a super speedway.
Yeah.
It'd be somebody that's not like it would be like a Nemechek or any Austin Dillon. Like some of the one, it generally isn't going to be your Kyle Larsons or your Denny Hamlins, even though he has won it 3 times. But it's such a stay out of the big wreck, and hopefully you're there in the last 10 laps kind of race.
Yeah.
So it's always hard to predict that one. It's easier to predict the short track than it is the big ones.
I'm with you. Anything else?
No, that's it.
You the man, Dan.
Cool, Dan.
844-326-3663. Oh, we did forget to ask him how his ribs were. Dan, on the stream, let us know.
Yeah.
Because he smoked some ribs for the Super Bowl.
Who do you like for the 500? I don't know.
Did you go? You went chicken? For the Super Bowl?
We had chicken and we had ribs. Chicken and ribs.
Oh, God, that's good. I thought
not ribs. Wings. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. So we had chicken breast filleted turned into sandwiches, and then chicken wings.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
And we made some chicken dip, and we made some chicken hash. I'm kidding.
God,
there's a lot of chicken. A lot of birds lost their lives in our family.
I like that. I went to a party. We had chicken wings from Wingstop. Right, love that. Let's see what else we had. We had chili, 2 different kinds, regular and white chicken chili. Those were both really good. My chili was best there, of course, but not being braggadocious or anything. Let's see, mushroom bread, which is phenomenal if you've never had it. It's like the best thing in the world. Bunch of dips, bunch of little crackers and chips and dips and stuff like that. What else am I missing? Wings, the corn on the cob from Wingstop. It's elite. I think I ate like 19 of those last night. They're cut into little small corns on the cob, so you can eat 19. It doesn't matter.
You only get 1 corn per cob.
That's right. Hey, I did not eat any dessert, though, last night. That's good, right?
Yeah, good for you.
Didn't go any sweets.
Keeping it skinny. I mean, you had probably, 3,000 calories?
Oh, at least.
But,
at least.
No dessert. So
I think I ate like
credit.
10-plus wings, a bunch of mushroom bread. It was bad. It was really, really bad. But you're right. No dessert. It made me feel good. And I had diet drinks. So you feel good about it. You feel good. Let's go to Somerville. Tom in Somerville wants to overreact on this Overreaction Monday. What's up, Tom?
Hey, guys. All right. So that might have been the most boring Super Bowl I have ever watched. And I'll tell you this. And like I told y'all last week, Seattle was going to win by a lot, and they did. That game was over by halftime. And and as good as the running back was, I'll give him credit. He was really good last night. I'm still ticked off. We had a golden opportunity to have a kicker be named Super Bowl MVP, and they did not do it.
Thank you.
I mean, he deserved the MVP. The kicker was phenomenal last night, and I'm still ticked off. I went to 5 grocery stores the last 5 days, and not one of them had the little Smoky. I could not find the little Smoky. So I was ticked off the whole game because I didn't have my little Smokies, the Super Bowl tradition. And yet, you know, I thought I had 20 chicken wings in the freezer. I only had 10 chicken wings in the freezer. So the food was very disappointing at my house last night. But, you know.
Should have ordered a pizza, Tom.
Well, the thing is that I did get pizza, and the pizza was good. But I wanted just a big old plate of chicken wings, and I only had 10 chicken wings. Of course, you got to give the dog 2 for the tax. So I'm sitting there in the fourth quarter, and there's no food left, and I didn't have any little Smokies to have for dessert, and it just kicked me off the rest of the night.
Here's the only thing, Diesel and Tom, here's what I don't buy. I'm not saying you're a liar. I don't buy you went to 5 different grocery stores and didn't find little Smokies. What section were you looking at? There's no way, man.
I'm telling you, I went to Walmart.
Okay.
I went to Food Lion. I went to Publix. I went to Harris Teeter, and I went to Aldi. And none of them had any little Smokies.
Well, there's your problem.
Looking on Tuesday.
Should have went to Ingles.
Well, there's no Ingles in Somerville. That's the problem. I love it. But they didn't have an Ingles in Somerville.
So Tom, you know the solution to this problem here is you need to buy an Ingles franchise and be the Ingles in Somerville.
Honestly, that's a good idea. And you know what? I'm gonna have that Bad Rabbit playing in my store all the time. So everybody who likes the Bad Rabbit who did the halftime show, if you understood anything he said, congratulations, because you speak better fluent Spanish than I did. I did not understand a lick of English, a word he said. But me and my wife were in the living room just bobbing our head to it like we knew what he was saying.
I recognize the word selfie. He said the word selfie. I caught that one.
Well, yeah, that's one you did that I did.
Hey, somebody also got married at that halftime show. That's pretty cool.
God.
I think that might be the first for the Super Bowl halftime show, right?
Yeah. You know, I woke up this morning and I said a prayer for Will Campbell. That poor man had a rough Super Bowl performance.
He did.
He
No
can't cut
doubt.
his salary anymore. He's on a rookie deal.
God, it was bad. Tom, thanks for the call as always, man.
Go Gamecock.
Texter says, hey, Tom, this comes from John Dog, by the way. He says, hey, Tom, we had little Smokies last night. Texter from the 803. Now, this is a Columbia area code. Not sure what area they live in now, but Texter said, my sister-in-law said she couldn't find them either to make pigs in the blanket. So there must have been a little Smokies shortage. Here's the thing, though. If you know you're going to make them for the Super Bowl, you got to go get those things like Sunday or Monday before. You can't wait till Friday or Saturday to get little Smokies because everybody wants the crock pot little Smokies, Diesel, right, with the jelly and the barbecue. And then everybody wants the pigs in the blanket. So I didn't know. There's your shortage of Smokies.
Here's a little piece of advice for you. Just go get the biggest packs you can and put some of them in the freezer. Just
you could
shove
do
them
that
all the way down in the bottom of the freezer so that next Super Bowl, you're set. You're good to go.
Yeah, you buy them during you got to get them early. That's crazy to think, though, that he went to 5 different stores.
It's always a good idea to have a spare pack of little Smokies.
I guarantee you Ingles had little Smokies. I guarantee you.
Well, they're always fully stocked, man. They're taking care of it. What's your overreaction?
Well, number one, I think that the Super Bowl in total, Diesel, when it comes to Super Bowl Sunday, I love Super Bowl Sunday, but I think that people have such high expectations. What do I mean by that? Everybody's disappointed. You know, we didn't see any fireworks. We didn't see 96 points scored. We didn't see – people have got to lower their expectations a little bit. That's my overreaction is, hey, was it the most amazing football game last night? No, because it wasn't a lot of offense. But, like, at the same time, as a football guy, I very, very much appreciate how good Seattle's defense was. Like, they were so good. So, for us to sit here and say, oh, it was a terrible game. It sucked. The players sucked. Everybody sucked. Dewey says everybody sucks and this sucks. I just think it takes away, Diesel, from how good their defense was last night.
Yeah, they were really stifling against Drake May and this team. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't throw the ball. They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't give Drake enough time to even think about where he wanted to throw the football. So I know that, Kenneth Walker got the MVP, but it really should go to that entire Seattle defensive line, the linebacking core that were able to get around, get in the backfield. They were fantastic.
Yeah.
14 pressures. Unbelievable.
If you didn't want, the defense to be as good, you would have got more. You'd have got more scoring. If you wanted more fireworks, you said, okay, I don't want Seattle's defense to be good. Then their defense isn't good, and they say, oh well, it was a good game because there were a lot of points scored. Well, hey, there's a lot of points scored. Defense was bad. So what do you want? And at the same time, the NFC Championship game, I think the Rams, Diesel, second overreaction. I just thought of this off the cuff. The Rams ought to be sick. The Rams ought to be sick because I think in the NFC Championship game, not looking at the stats here, but I think they put up 500-plus yards on the Seattle's defense. I'll go back and check. I could be wrong, but I think it was 500-plus.
Cole, my overreaction here is that we should not let the NFL playoffs get all the way to the championship round and into the playoffs the way that it typically does, like win and go home. I say that we scrap that. We go to the divisional round, boom, it's over. And then we have a committee that picks the two best divisional winners, and we have them face off against one another because they clearly could have looked at Drake May and said that kid is hurt. We shouldn't let him be out there on the field. If we had gotten to just the divisional round, Cole, and stopped it right then and there, they could have chosen between some better football teams.
That's the dumbest overreaction. The dumbest but you do. I mean, that's a good dumb overreaction, though. At least it's a dumb one, but it's a good dumb one.
I mean, they could have picked the Bills. They could have picked the Rams. They could have picked the Bears. The Bears would have had a better chance to beat Seattle last night than the Patriots did.
God.
And then just let it be.
Well, the problem is the conferences
team
there
from either division, or two different conferences.
And
you can have two NFC or two NFC teams play each other.
Well, the problem with that, what it goes back to is what I said last week. The problem is the best two teams were in the same conference. The Rams and the Seahawks were the best two teams in football, and you saw a really good game 2 weeks ago, like I said, in the NFC Championship game. And then, unfortunately, you do have, the Patriots team, who I said it last week. They played the easiest schedule in the NFL. I mean, they had offensive line issues all season long, all season. So they were good, but they were a victim of their schedule in a large part. And again, nobody was surprised by it. So I just think it was a weird year where both of the best teams, maybe three of the best teams, Seattle and Los Angeles, the two best teams in my mind, were in the same division, and they played each other in the NFC Championship.
Cole, I got a texter who is upset about my opinion, my long-standing opinion that if there's no defense, it's not a sport. And
yes.
He's upset with me asking whether or not I think the Olympics are sports. And I say, well, they are called the Olympic Games. After all, they are called the Olympic Games. He's like, well, that's just they call them football games too. He's just very upset over my opinion, man. He's mad at me and says, this is why I stopped listening. Well, he seems to be listening today, so we appreciate that.
God. Well, I mean, I will say, not to agree with the text, it is a dumb opinion. The whole, the defense and sport. But everybody has to have dumb opinions.
Right.
I mean, I have dumb ones. You have dumb. We all have dumb ones.
It's a dumb opinion, but I will defend it to the death.
Everybody has to have it.
It's not a sport.
Everybody has to have a dumb opinion. It's just part of it. Everybody's got dumb opinion. But it's good stuff. Thanks for the overreactions, Tolos. 844-326-3663. You can still get them in, even though it's not overreaction segment in the very next segment.
Love it, Cole. When we come back, let's get into this. Is North Dakota State making a huge mistake by jumping into the Mountain West? We'll touch on that and take a look at the way too early Heisman favorites for 2026.
text or call. One number does it all. 844-326-3663. That's 844-FAN-PHONE. This is Wire to Wire with Cole, Bryson, and Diesel on the Fan Upstate.
You know, Cole, some might say that it is commendable to have achieved everything that you can achieve at your particular level in a sport and to strive for something more. However, on the internet this weekend, as the reporting started to come out, that the 10-time out of the last 15 FCS national champions, North Dakota State Bison, are moving to the Mountain West, people were saying, oh, this is idiotic. This is stupid. Say goodbye to winning FCS national championships. You'll never, ever sniff one ever again. Cole, so where do you land? Stupid or commendable for them to try to achieve more?
You know, I think it's, to be quite frank, I think it's an incredibly tough spot because, again, I say this all the time. I try to see both angles. I try to see both sides. And, like, I get wanting to win championships. You know, it's nice. It's a lot easier of a road, Diesel, for North Dakota State to win championships than it's going to be right now. I'm not saying they can't be a good program, but we all know the championships are probably going to be minimized in a big, big way. Now, with that being said, I see both sides. I see that side, but I also see the side from the AD, from the president of the university standpoint of understanding the importance of winning those championships, because those are important, but also understanding the importance of growing the athletic programs as a whole. And I think that's probably where they fall on this conversation, Diesel.
Yeah, you know, the landscape is definitely shifting when it comes to college football. I mean, there was some audio. I don't have it in front of me, but it was sent to me over the weekend by Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. He had audio of Kirk Herbstreit essentially saying, this is nothing new, okay, just putting it out there, that the split is coming. It is going to happen, the split between the power conferences, however many schools that's going to be, and the group of five is going to happen. And we will have a new division in college football before long. From that standpoint, if you're North Dakota State, you don't want to get stuck in the FCS, which would now be the new, essentially, Division III, right? This is going to be so confusing. Like, I remember when they switched from 1AA to FCS, and it took like a decade for that nomenclature to stick. So you got FCS, which is still Division I, but it's the second highest division of Division I, and then there's Division II and Division III. Now, depending on how they're going to rebrand this thing, you'll have the Power Four, the Group of Six, the FCS, Division 2, 3. How many divisions are there that actually sponsor sports? There are four. To go all the way down to Division 4.
I don't know about four. I know three for sure.
Division 3.
Yeah, there are two.
So, I mean, this is what's happening. North Dakota State is paying $17 million to not get stuck in the FCS and to get into the Mountain West while there's a chance. Now, this is brilliant on their standpoint. If you look at the map, North Dakota is like way out there when you compare it to like San Jose, California, and the New Mexico Lobos that are in Albuquerque and some of the other schools that are in the Mountain West. But it's not like crazy insane. It's not like there's a school in like Northern Illinois that's playing in that conference.
Well, I think the thing about it is two angles there, two things you said I agree with. Number one, they do understand that maybe, like, I'm not saying they made that move just because they saw that audio from Kirk Herbstreit or heard that audio and they want to go ahead and get in the league while they can. Maybe there's truth to that. Maybe it goes into, maybe it's a factor. I think the factor is, though, while you are talking about a large amount of money, what'd you say, $17 million?
$17 million.
That's a lot, but guess what? I think that when you look at the program, athletics as a whole, the AD and the president, they're not making this decision just to say, let's try it. You know what I mean? Like, there's calculated reasons they're doing this. So, look, the championships in football, it's going to be different. You're playing at a different level now. But I do think long term you will see a lot more benefit because of something like that.
So just for the sake of funsies, Cole, I took the schools that are now going to be in the Mountain West, because remember, Boise State is on their way
Oh,
out.
yeah.
Colorado State is on their way out, among a bunch of others. This is potentially, I think this is a beautiful new look Mountain West Conference that's being shown on the stream right now.
Okay.
I would love, because I know the power schools that are in that area. Montana is always really good.
Yeah.
Montana State is really good, and South Dakota State are really good as well. Now, you're essentially talking about the western half of the United States. It's an enormous conference, but everything out there is huge. The distances between everywhere is huge. I think that's a phenomenal conference for the Mountain West.
And this is all their new members here?
No, this is the new members and the additions of the Montana and Dakota schools. If the Dakota schools haven't signed on yet.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
South Dakota State has not signed on, Montana State has not signed on, and Montana have not signed on. But you hear these things through the grapevine.
Yeah.
They are very much in contact with those schools. Because if I'm North Dakota State, I don't want to be out there on an island.
Sure.
I don't want to be, the distance between Fargo and the University of Wyoming is probably like 1,000 miles.
No, I do think that's interesting. I also think it will be interesting to watch and see if those two, especially the two Montanas, do join, because I think I'm with you. It could be an interesting conference. I would imagine North Dakota State, who just joined or are going to join, I would imagine that they've contacted South Dakota State. They kind of know where they feel. And I would imagine that they've contacted the Dakotas, right?
Yeah, I would think so. South Dakota is not as strong. South Dakota State is a really good football.
They just won the national championship recently.
Last year.
Last year. So I do think it's fascinating to see how this could shape up from a Mountain West standpoint. And then you have the existing ones already. I mean, let's see if they can. Let's see how long it'll take a North Dakota State type team to be on the level and play with a UNLV or a UTEP. I don't think it'll take as long as people think.
It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Now, on the stream, Jay Tez asks Diesel, how has that worked out for App State? App State, Georgia Southern moved into the Sun Belt in 2014. App State's had some pretty good seasons since then. They had the season where they beat both North Carolina and South Carolina in the same year. And had they not stumbled on a Halloween night against Georgia Southern, which stinks because it was our rival, there's a good chance that App State is a New Year's Six team that year. Ultimately, it didn't work out, but it's worked out to get some good programs in-house.
I think people get caught up in the rings championship conversation, especially with a team, like North Dakota State that's won championships. Everybody immediately, Diesel's going to make it about, well, they're not going to win championships anymore, right? And like, that's true. We talked about that. They're probably not. Well, I mean, you and I can admit they're probably not going to win championships anymore. So we understand that aspect of it. I just think that, we as fans see the programs, we see the championships, we see, North Dakota State was a power in FCS. They were dominant. They were unbeatable. And we just expect them to be content with being there forever. Yeah. But again, we don't know what other advantage, what else was so advantageous. There had to be reasons.
Well, they'll be playing their football in a non-expandable 19,000 seat dome. Don't forget, they play their football in a dome, and you can't make that any bigger. I mean, you might be able to squeeze seats in a little bit tighter and add another 1,000 or so. But let's be real. 19,000 in a packed out
it's a good environment.
For a G5 school, it's a really good environment.
It is. I have no issues with it. I just think that, long term, it'll be okay. If all you want is FCS championships, then you stay in the FCS. But I'm telling you, man, fans don't realize there's so much that goes behind it. And what the conference could do to them, we know them because they're at the top of FCS relevance, but I think they've just outgrown FCS,
Yeah. Well, when you win 2 out of the last 3 for the last 15 years, it feels weird to say this, but FCS titles feel kind of ho-hum.
They do.
You want to try your hand at something greater.
Hey, and the Mountain West, I think, is a good spot for them because it's not the ACC. It's a strong group of 5 league. We've talked about competition. It's good, Diesel, but it's not like overwhelming.
And it's wide open with
correct.
some of the traditional powers leaving that conference to go to the Pac-12. I think it's a wide open conference.
But here's the main reason. What's the main reason? Money.
The only reason, really.
Significantly higher media revenue, right, from the media deals. Bigger guarantees for non-conference games, Diesel. The sponsorship, the donor interest, the eyeballs, the justification for. Hey, here's one we hadn't talked about. How about this? The justification that these ADs or this AD and these coaches can now use for facility upgrades.
Sure.
Mountain West money is not like Power 4 level, but it's a major step up from FCS economics. So I think from a money standpoint, you've got to look at the money and understand that it does make sense.
And remember, this is football only. Okay, this is it's not going to affect their basketball programs or their volleyball programs or their baseball programs. I did see some really funny comments out there, Cole. Like, what's it going to be like for students at North Dakota State to be kicking off at 11:59 p.m. local time for them in North Dakota when they go on the road and play Hawaii? Yeah. Fans are going to be having midnight kickoffs while they're in Fargo for games that are being played in Hawaii, and vice versa. You're going to have fans and players from Hawaii going to play in 1 degree blizzard conditions in Fargo.
How about that?
Sign me up. I love it. I think this is a fantastic thing, and I would hope that the Montana schools in South Dakota State would go with it.
I do too.
It's always fun with friends, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's no fun. No fun if you're stuck by yourself, know. And that also from a recruiting standpoint, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the FCS unfortunately has been gutted, and that certainly it diminishes it from what it was 25 years ago. Yeah. But then again, 25 years ago, North Dakota State was playing in Division II. Let's think about that. They were elite at Division II. They made the jump to FCS where they're elite, and they're about to make the jump to the group of 5, which I would have every reason to believe that they're going to hit the ground running and be really good within a couple of years.
Hey, one quick side note, completely not non-sports related. One reason to be happy on this Monday. I'm all about giving people reasons to be happy and cheerful and a good mood, right? We need more of that. I was looking during the last commercial break at a picture from my phone for, let's see, I'm going to give you the date on it. I was on location, Diesel, doing a remote just like this before a Burns basketball game, right? I was at Spartanburg High School, and this was not long ago. I'm going to give you a reason to be happy on this Monday. I was looking at this picture just a few minutes ago during the last commercial break, and when I took this picture, it was completely dark outside. And it was of the stadium lights. It was raining. It was a cool picture, right? So I took it. Do you know what time I took the picture, Diesel? 5:41. Do you know what time it is right now?
Checks watch, 5:41.
And do you see the difference in this picture that I took where it's completely pitch black dark from, let me see how many days ago? That was on January the 9th.
Yes.
So we're talking about 1 month of difference, and it's still completely daylight outside. I mean, are we kidding ourselves? Who doesn't love this? If anybody out there loves when it gets dark early in like November, October, you're psycho. I mean, this is great. It's still plenty daylight outside right now.
Yeah, and
I love it.
We're about to get into daylight savings time, Cole, in less than a month.
Makes me so happy.
March
I mean,
8th.
It's the best thing in the world. Days were meant to be long, you know?
Yeah, I can't stand these smug folks that get up and work early in the morning in the wintertime and they get sun all day. That's not fair. I don't want to be able to look out the window. I want to be able to look out the window and see things. I don't like looking at a black wall.
I love it. The sun hadn't even set. It's staying daylight longer. It just makes me so excited. It's supposed to be in the 70s tomorrow. That's no lie. In the 70s. I cannot wait. Diesel, I do have a complaint, a little rant in the very next segment, and it goes back to one of our daily wires. What am I talking about? What am I complaining about? I'll tell you next.
now at 844-FAN-PHONE.
This is Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
Well, Diesel, we have somebody, one of our Tolos, who always says everything sucks. Everybody sucks, and you can probably guess who that is. But I am a little upset. Sometimes he'll call in and say, I'm mad. I'm upset. I do think sometimes we have to be careful about, things locally because we are a very local station. We do a lot local. But I do want to say something, Diesel, that I wish would reach the right ears when it comes to Greenville County and their school districts and how they run their athletics and, what their pay is and how they want to be competitive. What am I getting at here? Today, it was in our Daily Wires that Bennett Swaggart, head football coach at Hillcrest High School, has announced that he is heading to Clover. So why do I bring this up? I just think it's beyond time. And again, I don't know if this will ever reach the right ears or anything like that. I don't know. It may not. My opinion, my voice means very little, and I get that. But Greenville County, if anybody's listening, if you're a high up, if you know a high up, if your wife's a high up in this Greenville County school district, man, y'all got to get in the game. You just got to get your head in the game. This whole letting good coaches go because you're not going to be competitive salary-wise, we've got to quit. We've got to stop. And Spartanburg County's always been known in high school football, Diesel, to pay the big bucks, right? But when you're losing football coaches like a Bennett Swaggart to Clover, no disrespect to Clover, but when he's leaving to go get this major boost in salary, Greenville County's got to get with it. And I don't know if this will ever, find the right ears, but I pray that it does, because if you ever want to be competitive in athletics and in football in general, the complaints and the horror stories I hear on a weekly basis from friends of mine who are coaches in Greenville County, you've got to get your crap together. You've got to start being competitive. You've got the money. Greenville County, Diesel, has the money. And if you want to start keeping these good coaches around, you got to start paying them like other counties are paying them. There's no reason you should be losing a Bennett Swaggart, who's one of the best coaches, in my opinion, in the state, to Clover. You got to start spending the money, break out the checkbook.
So help me out here, Cole. Are high school coaches county employees? Do they get paid by the county?
Well, they're Greenville County, Greenville County School District,
okay.
They're an employee of Greenville County School District. So however that works, they're just like a teacher, right? You make the teacher the salary. Most of them are teachers, and then you have the stipends they make on top of that. But we've just got to get past this whole being cheap thing. Head coaches are making $100,000+ a year in high school football. They have been for a long, long time. And Greenville County getting it. I mean, we're and again, I know $75,000, $80,000 to a lot of people is a lot of money. It is, but if you want to be competitive, we've just got to you got to pay. You got to be what other districts are. At least be close. And again, I know I'm kind of making it personal, right at Greenville County, but you just hate seeing good coaches leave to go to other school districts. Diesel is what I'm getting at.
You would hope that the little bit of the county rivalry would step up. They would see, hey, look at what these coaches at Spartanburg High School are making, at Dorman High School, at Burns High School, and other schools around there, and say, well, we want to make sure we're paying just as much, if not more.
Yeah, they don't. They don't care. And listen, it's not just football; it's all athletics. I'm telling you, I have friends that coach in Greenville County, and it's a clown show. I can't say the other word on the air. It's a clown show. You got to start paying. You got to start being a little bit more competitive. Not a little bit more, a lot more competitive. That's my rant of the day. Let's go to Rick in Greer, Diesel, who wants to get in. 844-326-3663. What's up, Rick?
I'm doing well. I enjoyed the ball game last night. It was great. I mean, Seattle is a better team. But let me tell you, I didn't enjoy the retarded bunny or whatever his name was the sorriest halftime show I have ever seen.
I thought you'd like it.
Am I not right? Am I not right?
Well, I didn't watch it, so I wouldn't know, but I thought you would enjoy it.
You didn't like the big booty Latinas shaking what they got?
Yeah, big booties and about 14 years old, half of them.
That's not true, Rick.
No, come on.
That's not true, Rick.
14 to 16 out there.
That's not true.
It was ridiculous.
Sorry to hear about it.
Bad Bunny, don't come to Greenville.
If he's listening. Dewey on the stream says Greenville County Council is going to have Cole fired. Yeah, I think they will. I think they will.
They don't pay our salary, so they don't have any
Dewey.
authority.
Thanks a lot, Dewey. I just don't know, man. I just think it's so sick of like seeing good coaches leave. Bennett Swaggert's a good coach. He'll do a good job at Clover. They've got a really good coach, and my whole reason behind that rant is like, if you've got good coaches in your district like Greg Porter's, like Bennett Swaggert's, man, you got to pay them. You got to keep them. You don't want them going to other school districts. It looks bad on you. Shame on Greenville County, man. You got to be better.
Cole, here's some breaking news for you. Remember last week when we had the Daily Wire that Bobby Houck, the 14-year head football coach of the Montana Grizzlies, who had won a ton of games, a ton of playoff games, and taken his team on deep runs, who left the game because he was tired of what it had become and it was no longer fun. Well, Bobby Houck has just accepted a job to be the defensive coordinator for Illinois. So he's heading to the Big Ten.
How about that?
Yeah.
Jarrett Tripp on the Joy Law Firm text line says, teachers get paid by the state, but the money for being a coach is based on the counties. Greenville is by far the worst when it comes to pay. My wife is a teacher in Pickens and makes more than Greenville County teachers. It's bad, man. It really is.
That's wild.
It's
they
bad.
should step up. Again, like you said, no disrespect to Clover, but they are far from the program that that Hillcrest has been over the last couple of years. Hillcrest has been a juggernaut for a while, and to walk away from that for Clover.
Yeah. Pay money talks. Money talks.
That's it. I mean, he'll be successful there too.
Yeah.
He will find ways to win football games there at Clover. Cole, when we come back, let's get back into our conversation about the Super Bowl and whether or not it was even a good football game. There's a million and one opinions out there on social media the last couple of days, or last couple hours, I should say, over whether or not the game sucked. We'll talk about that next, right here on